Alright, so we've had a couple changes to Fury Warrior, and I just wanted to talk about it a little bit, because I like Warrior. So, what they did recently is they changed Reckless Abandon to empower your next Bloodthirster Raging Blow to try and get rid of, or try and improve on it. Because previously this was used in the Crushing Blow build, where you would Rampage, Crushing Blow, regardless of any rage, which kind of sucked, but it was good. But now, it's about getting one big hit in after your Rampage. On top of this, they changed Annihilator. Or actually, no, they changed Sword of Storms so that Slam now has a shorter cooldown. In your Execute window, after doing some testing and some rotation practice on this, in your Execute window, you're basically hitting Bloodthirst, Execute, Bloodthirst, Rampage, Bloodthirst, Execute, Bloodthirst, Rampage. You're able to do that. So you're not even using Slam or Whirlwind, really. Which I kind of like. I think it's decent. Because they buffed Reckless Abandon with how everything was going, we're just going to be playing Annihilator in its current state. Which I don't have a problem with. And I have gotten some pretty good crits, too. In Execute, I was getting... With the current gear I have, which is last season's gear... And I need to... What is this fucking music, dude? Just... Stop. I'm also camping a rare. But, so I got a 330 crit. No ray buffs. No potions. This was with just Spear as a buff. And because of how they changed Bloodthirst to do double damage... On top of that, we're getting that bonus with 50% increase with Vicious Contempt. And this shit kind of slaps, man. It does a lot of fucking damage. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to match up and execute damage against, say, something like Arms. Nor do I know with how the rotation, what I was doing is essentially... Like I said, I was going Bloodthirst, Execute, Bloodthirst, Rampage, Bloodthirst, off global, Bloodthirst. Even if I had Rampage available, one thing, that's what I was doing my rotation, where if I wasn't going to overcap by hitting another Bloodthirst before the Rampage, I was trying to get as many Odin's Furies as possible. So I was hitting Bloodthirst even though Rampage was available at 80 if I wasn't going to overcap. I'm not sure if that's the best method to play it. Maybe it is the moment you have enough, you send Rampage. I'm not sure exactly. I do know for sure that when you do get your 2-piece set bonus, where your Bloodthirst crits and does additional damage, you 100% do not want to spend that on a basic bitch Bloodthirst, because the difference between damage of that... We'll pop it here. So we'll do a basic bitch Bloodthirst, right? 65k. We do this one, 142k. You are straight up missing out on half of your damage if you're sending a critical Bloodthirst with the set bonus. So that is one thing to keep in mind. But I don't mind it, actually. I thought I would hate Annihilator a lot more. One of the issues I had with it mainly was when they changed Slam to have a lower cooldown, Hasted, let me get... So Hasted, Slam is a 5.7 second. That's just with current gear. Our best in slot might be different. But Hasted at 5.7 seconds, the problem with the previous set is Slam had 3 more seconds of global cooldown with this Sword of Storms, and you basically ran out of fucking buttons to hit. It is possible outside of Execute to straight up run out of buttons to press. And now, that possibility is so astronomically low. Like, it just hasn't happened to me yet. It can, but I mean, even if it is, it's like you're waiting maybe what? Maybe a fourth of a global every 5 minutes of pure uptime? Maybe? I don't know. So it seems, honestly, it plays pretty decently. It hits pretty hard. I think it's going to be pretty nice. One thing that you will be doing because of how this works in your opener is we are going to be sending as many Rampage BTs as possible in the opener. So we're going to be hitting... Essentially, our opener is going to be Charge, Avatar Wreck, Odin's Fury, Ramp BT. It's kind of like this. It's... You put down your Spear, It might be more optimal when you hit the spear to hit the spear after you rampage. Because you see I missed a Bloodthirst, a crit Bloodthirst there. So it might be a little more optimal to hold. Might be a little more optimal to actually hold your spear for after the first rampage. So you rampage, spear, BT, BT, BT. I think you can get like an extra BT in there with the crit damage bonus from the tier set. But it's not bad. I feel like I'm still pressing buttons, so I like it. The AoE rotation's even like simpler and easier. I can't swap to it while Spear Bastion's on cooldown, but essentially it is, instead of taking, like it was previously, you don't take these two, you take these two. And then you're also moving over Titanic Rage, so your Odin's Fury is doing a bunch of damage. You're also taking Bloodborne to do more bleed damage, more AoE damage. You're taking Thunderous Roar, which does a lot of damage. To note, your Bloodthirsts aren't critting every single target against your primary target, as it says here in the tooltip, is the person mainly being crit, so you also get a little priority damage, even though it would be probably overpowered if you could crit literally everything with your Whirlwind buff. But even in AoE situations, it plays pretty good. Once again, our Whirlwind is hasted as well, so we're going to be sending Whirlwind for, not only because it's Sword of Storms, it does damage, right? If we look at our Whirlwind damage, it does 14.5k. Does this buff Whirlwind damage at all? No. These technically buff how much damage it does. This one buffs its flat damage. But in single target, Slam will be a priority, and AoE, Whirlwind will be a priority. Depending on how many stacks you have left, you might actually be sending Slam instead of a Whirlwind. But that might actually delay your BTs, so we'll have to see what's better in AoE. But even in AoE, you're keeping your uptime. Essentially, you're keeping your Whirlwind up. You're doing big damage with Odin's Fury. You have priority damage with your Bloodthirst. You're doing a shit ton of AoE damage just because you're generally cleaving. You're buffing your Whirlwind with this. There were current recommended talents instead of taking... I'll swap it over. The current recommended talents, instead of taking Cruel Strikes and... If you need the CC, instead of taking Seismic Reverb and Cruel Strikes, you'll be taking Endurance and Shockwave instead, if your group needs the CC, which is still pretty good. You're not losing much damage at all. If you're even losing damage. Excuse me. Using this setup where you're running this instead. But just for DPS flat testing, I have this set up. But it's basically the same exact thing as you do in single target. It feels pretty good. The other change they made to the tier set bonus is what used to happen is this 3-stack buff you would get to increase your Bloodthirst damage. This buff would actually only stack to 3, so you're having to do this weird shit where you're in your AoE rotation, right? And then you need to, okay, we need to make sure we spend all 3 of our Bloodthirsts, then we can have it, right? And that honestly blows. So with the change where using Odin's Fury gives you 3 stacks, now you get 3 stacks from the Avatar pop, and then you get another 3 stacks from Odin's Fury itself. Popping when you use both of them in conjunction, up to 6 stacks, which is great. Really good change. The change to make Slam, which was buffed base initially to a lower cooldown, is a great change. Now we're actually running Crushing Force with this, and it does a decent amount of damage. Let's see, go back to my single target. Where was this one? No, I had a, 4-minute... This one. So it is still doing an okay amount of damage. I don't really cast it much here, looks like. But even though it's critting 60k, in the testing I was doing on this dummy, one of the actual problems is other people were hitting it. So it was actually going way below the 35% mark already, so I was casting way more executes than I normally would, which kind of skews this data for Slam currently. But honestly, it's not bad. It's good. I wasn't a fan of Annihilator because it just seemed like, oh, it's Demon Blades for another class. But it honestly feels pretty decent to play. It doesn't feel like you're totally shunning warrior, you know, instead of you're still always hitting buttons. And I do like the damage it does. Hopefully, we'll have to see what the actual damage looks like with our new set bonus, new gear, what the legendary, who knows how the fucking legendary might interact with this. I don't think it will interact with it specifically, but you never know, right? So Fury's looking pretty good. I don't know exactly how it's shaping up in terms of DPS compared to ARMS, because right now I'm just looking at game feel. ARMS still needs some changes. We just got the announcement that the patch is coming out on the 7th, so we got 3 weeks. That's probably at least 2 more weeks of changes before they start really finalizing some stuff. And I'm hoping ARMS gets a little love too. Mainly ARMS just needs some spenders, or I don't even know what their philosophy behind it is. I wish we could get a dev note from them that's like, hey, we want this to be the Primo Execute class, so all of it's going to be focused around Execute and doing a little more mediocre damage outside of it. And if that's how they want it, all right, cool. But I wish we got some more dev notes really explaining their intentions of what they want the class to be. That way we can see the changes they're making and adjust accordingly. Be like, okay, they're looking for this, and this is doing this. And then that also would help us tailor our feedback to say, okay, this is your intention here, and this is how what you explain your intention to be. If we have criticism of that, we can give it to them. If we want them to change it, or if we see something in the kit that works counterintuitive to their intention and what they want this class to play like in practice, I would just like to see a little more dev notes on, hey, we're looking at this, we want this to be this way for this reason. Even if the reason's like, we're just trying to change up how the class plays, right? We want to kind of shake it up a little bit. Some people might not like that, but I think change is certainly welcome. So we'll see. But for Fury, was very doomer for a while, and these 2 changes of making Slam a lower cooldown and changing Reckless Abandon so it is actually honestly more impactful, I think is pretty cool. I don't know if this is the correct talent to take. We'll see. I think this is kind of what we're going with right now, but we still have yet to see the finalized versions of these talents and builds and that kind of thing, and what our... Haven't really been able to shove it into the robot yet, because the robot's not fully updated to be like, hey man, you should press this instead of this global. Oh, okay. And then I can learn that and improve that. But overall, way less doomer. Way less doomer. ARMS definitely still needs some help. ARMS is in a very, very weird spot. But Fury is feeling pretty good. Honestly, Zeos speaks for us all. Wonka was correct in the Max video of it's feeling pretty good right now. So looking forward to that, and I will catch you next time. Peace.